Aries are mean as fuck. Every Aries that I meet, they got mommy issues. So they try to motherfucking put that shit on you. They mean everything that they mother lack, they expect from you. I can't fuck with Aries. I'm letting y'all know right now.
Erase this shit and give me something new.
All right.
It's disgusting to be related to you.
Show me a hidden talent.
No.
There's no Marvel Cinematic Universe without me. Yeah, I did everything.
I don't see you. You don't exist.
I am an Aries.
I'm an Aries. I'm such an Aries.
I'm an Aries. A lot of actors are Aries.
I'm an Aries. I've been told that they're quite fiery. I have to say, everything that I've been told about my sign, I don't personally relate to.
You have a talent for fixing things. Part of your secret is that you act immediately. I do like to fix things. I'm actually really good. Like if anybody ever gets a knot in their necklace, I'm like,
hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chakras and Cusswords podcast. My name is Katherine, and I am your host. And today we are talking about the Aries, that beautiful creature, zodiac sign of this vibracious energy. And we're going to be looking at the zodiac placement and what it means to have your sun in Aries, what it means to have some alignments in energy in certain aspects and placements of the Aries. And we're just going to kind of like take a little bit of a casual, cool conversation on this dynamic number one cardinal baddie. The Aries is definitely like that sign. I don't know how else to explain it. Like the Aries is like that bitch who showed up to the party, who's like sexy, cool, and a little bit calm, but also like you're a little bit nervous to approach them. So let's get into it. So the Aries is like an energy of growth. When I see the area of the Aries, to me, the Aries shows areas that represent new movement and also having like a new beginning. So the Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it is ruled by Mars. And I think any planet that has some enlightenment or some energy that is around that place of Mars, you know, there's definitely like this possibility that they can bite your fucking head off like so easily. The Aries, most people who are born in the Aries zodiac with a sun in Aries would be right around March 21st to April 19th to April 20th. That's why it's very important to look at your birth chart, see what is the actual sun sign, because I know a lot of people right around that 20th day, they kind of like have this like, am I on the cusp? Am I a cusp zodiac? I'm like they're like, I'm like both. You know, am I a Aries right around that 420 birthday? Am I a Aries or am I a Taurus? So definitely look at your birth chart, get the time of your birth, and that really will show where the sun is right around that time. That's one that I get a lot of questions about, the 420 babies. Like they don't have enough fucking confusion being born on 420 and now they don't even know what zodiac they are. Oh, poor me. But the Aries is really like that energy of fire. It is a fire sign. So it's, I guess you could say its counterparts, its sister signs are the Leo and the Sagittarius. This sign brings a lot of representation towards action, being bold, and also being a little bit of the first one, right? It's a cardinal sign, and cardinal signs are the season starters, and cardinal signs kind of have this vibracious energy where the Aries has this vibration all through it, because not only is it a cardinal sign, but it's the first of the cardinal signs, meaning it's kind of like the one that opens up the calendar of the zodiacs. Also, when I look at Aries, Aries to me, they remind me of being like a little bit innocent. Like some Aries, when people tell me that they're an Aries, sometimes I'm like, wow, I did not see that coming. Because Aries, I feel like when you hear, oh, I'm an Aries, you know that's a fire element, and you automatically think like this person's going to be very outgoing or very fearless and almost like extremely confident. But we sometimes see that Aries can be a little bit shy in certain aspects. Also, there is the area around an urgency with them. So sometimes you feel like an Aries might be rushing through certain situations where versus maybe like a Taurus would not. And it could be that element of the spontaneous relationship that they have with themselves and also that they have with that space of movement. We also have to remember that when we are dealing with Aries, or if we are at Aries, that the Aries is really centered on that area of individuality and that individual space, as they are, like I said, the first zodiac. So that's all about that first house. While some people say that the house placements don't really make the zodiac, for instance, there is a tradition of the house placement definitely showing some type of counterpart to it. And the first zodiac, being the Aries, representing the first house, that area of individuality, of authentic process, of being aligned with appearance, I think does show forward, and it does show a movement that feels aligned with the Aries. The Aries, they are kind of about self. They are about I am. They definitely will be worried about what's going on with them. And that could be a benefit, and that can also be a disadvantage, because sometimes when you're so focused on self, you tend to forget about the others around. Whoa, who are those people? Yikes. And also there's this area where I feel like the Aries likes to control certain situations. And when they start to feel like they're losing grasp of control, that's when all shit hits the fan. So an Aries losing control is not a good day. It's just not. They do definitely like to have their ducks in a row. They definitely like to be the rock. They definitely like to be the one to have some type of control factor in certain situations. And when that comes up, it feels very yucky. It does not feel right with them. The color of representation for the Aries is definitely red. That passionate red, that fire red that we see. And also the area of metal is iron. So that's very interesting. When we think about iron, we also think about areas of like machinery and also the energy of certain items that Mars is aligned with, like big machinery, big mechanics, stuff like that. Also, we have the area of stones being the bloodstone and the sardonyx. Parts of the body that the Aries is aligned with is the head and the face. And we sometimes see that Aries get really angry. Like if you ever see an Aries angry, they're like, their blood's fucking boiling. They probably have like a big vein popping out in their fucking forehead, and they just look a hot mess. Some Aries could probably, hold their anger quite well, but some Aries, it really shows. And they also have that energy of headaches. Like sometimes they might be vulnerable to headaches. So like if you see Aries and they're like, I always have migraines, or I get migraines, maybe there's some energy around that. You could kind of see, oh, okay, that makes sense for an Aries. The herbs or plants, I definitely have pine and cypress. With the area of polarity, they are considered a positive, also in the area of yin and yang. So they are a positive, and that also means that they are a masculine, they are a cardinal sign, and they are the element of fire. They definitely have the confidence and courage to lead us in certain situations. But sometimes you don't want to follow an Aries too closely because they could be a little bit impulsive, and they can also be a little bit impatient. And sometimes that is centered around the area of being unreliable. So you definitely want to make sure you check back with your own personal space if the Aries is leading the situation. And they are headstrong, so that frustration will definitely come out. Sometimes Aries can push people into certain situations because of their own impulsiveness that maybe not everybody wants to get into, right? But that is the format of some of the Aries. Another thing that I want to point out is besides them being courageous, bold, the Aries isn't afraid to take on challenges, and they aren't centered around making too many mistakes because they are pretty confident. They are independent, they are energetic, they are impulsive, but they can also be easy to forgive. So while we are looking at this Aries and saying like, oh my goodness, they seem so temperamental, they actually have a very kind heart, and sometimes you can really see that softer side of an Aries. And that energy of the symbol of the ram represents areas of strength and determination and the ability to push through certain obstacles. And of course, the mythology of Aries is linked to the golden ram in Greekology. I'm just making up words. Mythology, which was saved by Phyrex and Healy, leading the golden fleece. So there's definitely a lot of Greek mythology that you can look up if you want to learn more about certain stories and myths and legends. Also, the Aries, I would say, in a relationship can be extremely passionate when they're interested in that partner. Like, I feel like Aries are a little flirty, and they can also be a little bit independent where they will give their partner space and also respect that own individual space and that own individual area of clarity, because we have to remember that the Aries is focused on that energy of self in certain situations. The Aries is definitely loyal and they're protective. Like they are pretty committed. I've heard that Aries can be committed. Like they're definitely a committed person to their partners, and they can be seen as very, very centered in the relationship. And they will definitely fight for certain people that are important in their lives. But with all zodiacs, right, certain things happen. And we kind of see that with the Aries, since they're so impulsive, those certain things might take place. They can also be impatient. So, for instance, if the relationship is struggling in certain situations, the Aries might say, you know, I'm done with this. You're not going to give me what I need because this is about me. I'm packing my bags and I'm fucking leaving. And I could definitely see an Aries do that. Like, you know, you come home and everything's gone. Everything is so gone. And there might be like some holes in the wall. There might definitely be some angry texts going on. I definitely see like the Aries speaking quick. And when I think about Aries who speak quick, you kind of see that. And you know what's interesting is as I was preparing for this podcast, I realized that Bad Baby, whatever her name is, the Catch Me Outside girl from Dr. Phil, she is an Aries. And I feel like she really went hard in her latest diss track. And I don't know why I know this as a fucking Gen X, you know. Like, I mean, I think when the Catch Me Outside girl came out on Dr. Phil, I was already like a young mom, you know. So, but her and Alabama Barker are having this major beef, and her diss track, which she says she writes all her own songs, all her own lyrics, really like went for the jugular. Like she didn't play no games. Like she was witty and she was quick with her words, and she is very like a quick rapper. She's not a slow paced rapper. And I was like, this makes sense now. Why she fired back so hard, so good. And I was like, I did not see this coming. And she really picked up that whole like critique of area of critical thinking. Like she had a lookalike Travis Barker, and she was, you know, just all these silent digs. I have 182 shots. Like I was like, oh girl, oh girlfriend, oh Miss Bad Baby. I did not see this coming from the Catch Me Outside girl. So definitely I did do a little bit birth chart reading on her if you want to check that out on the YouTube channel. But for the most part, Aries are quick and witted with their words. Like also Jasmine Crockett, who is I believe a congresswoman. I'm not sure where she's out. I'm not sure or Senate. I'm not really good at politics. But the dialogue that I've seen from her, she is very well spoken, and her words are very quick and very spontaneous, and she says what she got to say, and there is no room for change. There's no room for any other dialogue. She definitely has the first and the last word. So you can kind of see that with those Aries placements. Also, for areas of who does the Aries get along with? They definitely get along with Sagittarius, a Gemini, and an Aquarius. Also, they might have some challenges, and there definitely might be some areas of obstacles in the relationship when it comes to Cancer, Capricorn, and Pisces. So where would we like to see the Aries when we are focused on energies of career and money? For each zodiac, it's different, but Aries are kind of like natural leaders, and they are centered in areas of like entrepreneurship. Also, I could see them being in like high energy careers. Like I think an Aries would make somebody who's very good in like the medical field, or also somebody who's very good with like working with the public. They also like that area of instant gratification. So that could be like sales, sports, even military, like an Aries will go out there and get some fucking shit done. They are definitely risk takers, and that could be shown in areas of financial risk. So sometimes they aren't scared to invest their money, but sometimes we have to remember that that impulsive energy might also show. I think with the Aries, if they are too much centered on entrepreneurship, there's time that you might have to like sit them down and be like, either you're making irrational choices, or either you are working at too fast of a speed where you aren't able to finish the project. I could also see Aries having like a bunch of big ideas and not necessarily finishing those ideas. Like I see an Aries also being somebody who might be like, I want to start a business here. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to create a YouTube channel. I want to do that, blah, 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 blah. And then 3 months later, they're like, I don't want to do any of this shit. Because that energy was very impulsive and it was very much centered on action. They did the action and then they decided, I don't know if I want to do the consistency that goes behind it. Aries can get easily bored. So that energy of being excited, that energy of challenges is kind of like the first thing that gets them going, but keeping them in that place might be a little bit difficult. So I honestly think that an Aries could be a good entrepreneur, could be a good businessman, it could be a big businesswoman, a lady boss, but they really need to look at the first initiative of starting, keeping, and maintaining whatever it is that they are aligned with. They can be that entrepreneur baddie. Also, we have to remember that Aries are good with their words. Like I said, they're kind of quick, they're brave, they're spontaneous. So I could definitely see them being like somebody who is like a good lawyer. They could definitely focus on their dialogue, focus on their side of the story. Also an athlete, all that action, all that movement. Firefighters, and Aries would make a good firefighter. Somebody who is seen as like the leader, the CEO, the salesperson. Also an entertainer. Like an Aries could really, really be a good entertainer because they're ever so easily able to create different roles and different personas, which I think would kind of like settle quite nice with the Aries. And we have to remember a lot of this comes from their ruling planet of Mars. Mars is about war, it's about aggression, it's about assertiveness, and it's about action. The element of fire, being passionate, being energetic, being bold, and that area of their modality, which is their cardinal sign, creating that initiation, that leader action, and also taking them to the newest and best place for them. they are seen as, that energy around the first house. So it is very much like a identity and also a self-expression when we look at places that they would do quite nice with their movement in careers. Also, what's interesting about the Aries is that Aries exhalated in the sun, so it shines in the energy of self-expression. So a sun in Aries does quite well, where their detriment in Venus in Aries might have some personal struggles and also might have that area of emotional depth in love that could feel a little bit of a challenge because Venus is their detriment. So that is the energy that just feels a little bit obstacle-y, but remember that that obstacle doesn't have to mean that they automatically are weighed down in relationships or they're automatically not seen in their own persona in relationship. So Venus in Aries definitely has to take time to look at the emotional depth of the relationship and also take time to look at the struggles that aren't just affecting them, but are also affecting the other individual in the relationship. And sometimes that could be a little bit hard for these Arians, these little Aries, these little Aries placements, It's not about me. You mean there's two people in their relationship? Oh, what the fuck? So if that's something that's very hard for them, they definitely maybe need to do some reflection and look back at that. Also, the Aries just naturally have strengths around being brave and being ambitious, being honest, being confident, being optimistic. And like I said, their weaknesses are that energy of impulsiveness, the aggression, that impatient factor behind them. Some of the famous Aries that we could talk about, definitely that are important are like Lady Gaga. I also said Jasmine Crockett and About a Baby, but also Robert Downey Jr. So Lady Gaga, okay, automatically Lady Gaga, when I think about her, she's very fierce. She's very much a trendsetter. She is bold. Her music is fantastic. La 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 ba 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 ba. I mean, she's just like so kind of multi-dimensional. You're able to see that softer side. She's a triple threat. She's an actress, a singer. She has all these things. She's been accused of being a witch. Baby girl, I get it. Like, she's just so fabulous. I love Gaga. She is a little strange, as one might say. She's a little weird. She brings that weird girl energy. But if you're not here for the weird girl energy, I feel like you're a little fucking boring. But yes, she's definitely that one. Like, I like Gaga. I like her. I like her a lot. Robert Downey Jr. When I think about Robert Downey Jr., he's definitely confident. I would say we've definitely seen those cycles of turbulation with his relationships and some obstacles. I haven't read his whole chart. That would be a kind of interesting chart to read. He is charismatic, but he also is seen as a risk taker and impulsive. Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey is passionate. She's an amazing singer when we talk about words and movements that the Aries brings. And she's unapologetically that diva. Like, Mariah Carey is not one to be like, oh yeah, oh, you don't want me to be a diva? No. Like, she literally sued a man, her ex-fiance, for fucking wasting her time, and she won. I mean, if that's not Aries, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, that is an Aries. That's some shit an Aries will do. And Aries is like, you're wasting my time, you're messing with my emotions, and you're unaligning my energy. I'm going to sue you. Like, it just makes perfect sense. Sarah Jessica Parker. As Sarah Jessica Parker, my biggest thing with Sarah Jessica Parker, I feel like it's very hard to take her away from the Carrie Bradshaw persona. Like, I feel like I don't know Jessica Parker. I only know Carrie Bradshaw, but she is like so good at fashion. And that is one thing that I think is a resemblation of Sarah Jessica Parker that kind of transitioned into Carrie Bradshaw's character. That Sarah Jessica Parker has also been with, what's her husband's name? I'm going blank. You know, he's very cute. He's like the guy from Ferris Bueller, I believe. Oh, I'm going so blank. Put it in the comments if you remember. I'm sure I will remember in a second. But she has that Aries energy of being loyal, being charming, being very nice. But I always feel like I go back to her Carrie Bradshaw energy. But she is a very good actress. So I would definitely say when we are looking at the areas of planets in Aries, there's definitely some ones that stand out to me. And I'm going to do a quick run by round. Like this isn't going to be a big one because, it will be here all day if we really are breaking down the planets in each sign. And this isn't the purpose of this podcast. The purpose of this podcast is just to get a general idea of each zodiac. If you want to learn more about the planets, definitely go on to some fucking astrologer's page who wants to talk about that shit all day long. But for me, I just want to give a general tropical mundane basic bitch scenario. So all my basic witchy bitches, hey, let's continue. So for the sun feels comfortable in Aries. It likes it. It moves friendly. It could have some areas of difficulties where it could be a little bit more vibracious. Like I said, sun in Aries is impulsive. We get it. A lot of solar plex energy right there. Very solar plex driven. And when we see solar plex fire with fire, it can be intense, and the Aries can be intense. The moon reacts in areas where we could see that energy of an Aries moon being a little bit impatient. When I think about Aries moon, I feel like there are areas of emotions need to be addressed right away. I don't like an Aries moon to, I guess you could say, put stuff in the back burner, hide it. I don't like that for an Aries moon. I want an Aries moon to talk about it. I want an Aries moon to get it out. I want an Aries moon to see that area of sensitivity and expression that's kind of holding them down. Also, Luigi Mangione was an Aries moon, and I believe there was a couple other people who will bite your fucking head off in a hot fucking second. That was also an Aries moon. And if an Aries moon isn't getting that area of sensitivity out and letting that area of action come out in some ways, we could definitely see some complications. Also, we have the energy of Mercury. Aries and Mercury definitely feels like there's a lot of possibilities, and there's also an area of being a little bit undisciplined, especially with communication. I would think a Mercury and Aries would be very witted with their words, quick with their words, and centered in that area of individualism, but sometimes they might need to allow the partner to communicate as well. That would be nice, right? Can your partner share a little bit? Can your partner talk? Are they even here? The Venus in Aries is the detriment. The Venus in Aries, we would definitely see some challenges in some relationships. And we would definitely feel that energy where it might feel like a little bit of overwhelming, a little overwhelming right there. And that's okay. We have to remember that that area of instability might come up. Also, we would want to look at why it is a detriment to a relationship in certain situations. So it is a detriment because Mars is ruled by Aries. For this while, it makes everything very seductive. It makes everything very impulsive. So that would be something where that energy of impulsiveness in the relationship might kind of feel boring after a while. Also, a Mars in Aries is very fiery. A Mars in Aries is centered as the area of big reaction. I would definitely feel like a Mars in Aries would have like an explosive temper and be very determined, headstrong, and also very courageous and very impulsive. And if you hear this clicking, clacking, that's my pen, boo, okay? Sorry, but I'm not sorry. No apologies here. Okay. Also, a Jupiter in Aries could see optimistic, and it could also seem a little bit irrelevant, and it could seem a little bit unrealistic. Definitely making those choices that they should have double thinked, but they do have a lot of possibility for growth and also new opportunities and advances. With a Uranus in Aries definitely feels very challenging in some aspects, where they have this energy that feels restless. And I would think that like a Uranus in with Aries would definitely take some areas of assumptions, like they wouldn't really wait for the facts to come out. They would just be assuming certain shit. So I could definitely see them being very much like seen as a little bit as provoking, having some thought leader energy, but also taking that time to have many challenges in certain situations. Also, the Neptune in Aries, that energy could feel to have a little bit of like somebody who isn't centered around certain aspects around spiritual beliefs, or they might be asking more questions, or I could definitely see them being like a little bit more of a spiritualist versus somebody who would be confined to a religion. And I also think that when we are looking at that area of and some of us will not have any of these placements in our birth charts just because like Neptune takes so long to get between every planet. So the last time the timelines for the Neptune was 1533 and to 48, 1697 to 1712. 1861 to 75. So some of us don't have this, but definitely, I could definitely see there being some areas of understanding and also some areas of spirituality kind of having some challenges. And also what's interesting is I think that an Aries in Neptune would also feel like would almost seem like the area of consciousness would be undefined. It would be uncentered around certain spaces. Also, the Pluto, when we look at a Pluto in Aries, that transit occurred during 1577 and 1608 and 1822 to 1853. And we definitely, so I would think in somebody's chart, that would feel like somebody who is centered around almost like the energy of movement and probably taking a lot of action around transformation multiple times and closing certain situations. But also during that time, there was a lot of energy around war and also financial up gains. So I definitely see that there was like a lot of social revelation during that time. But for an individual, for this like an individual who like let's say had Pluto in their chart in Aries, I would definitely see this person as somebody who was very like future driven and very centered driven on creating change with not just themselves, but also in areas of social assumptions and social passages. Also, a Saturn in Aries can feel very strongly a little bit like controlled, where it might be hard for the Aries because the Aries is very much centered like with self. So some of their problems might feel as delays and also might feel like something that is weighing them down. So there's definitely some time of resentment that could come up with like a Saturn in Aries, because a Saturn in Aries is like all about being free, all about being vivacious, all about being centered around certain situations around that individual space. And then if you're holding me back, of course I'm not gonna fucking like it, man. Okay, so we have to remember that Aries are fearless. They are the number one zodiac. No pun intended, but they really are in areas of the zodiac calendar, being the number one cardinal sign. They thrive off of passion, independence, and competition. Are you an Aries? Where are your Aries placements? How do you feel like you're balancing your impulsive energy? Definitely let me know in the comments. And for everybody who is listening, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this with your favorite Aries or your witchy bestie. And have an amazing day. Bye.
To Aries, it's never us. And I say that because we communicate very well and we give warnings prior to crashing out. So
I don't know. I just feel like Aries is the best zodiac sign. Let me tell you why. For one, we have the best confidence. Like, there's nothing that anybody can do that can belittle how great I feel about myself. Number two, we are loyal. We are supporters. We are cheerleaders. You want us on your team. You want to be on our team because we're going to make you a better person. Let's not forget that we have a heart of gold. Okay, you can have my last penny out of my bank account, out of my investment account. You feel me? Like, Aries know they're gonna get it back, so they're gonna give it. Put your kids away for this one. We are the best in bed. Y'all can't tell me nothing. Y'all can't tell me nothing. Y'all can't tell me nothing.